Welcome back to the Standing Room Only podcast. Lucky episode 77. Maybe one day we'll hit 777. As always, make sure to download the episode. Follow us on social media at SOnlyPod. Personal pages. Mine is at the Healy6.
I am iGoose with 4 O's. As always, hit that follow and stay interactive.
Yes, so today we have an NFL trade with Julio Jones. Aaron Rodgers will briefly go over. A lot of talk in Major League Baseball about substance abuse and what they're doing there. And then we got basketball playoff talk. Before we get into that, though, Goose and I went to a baseball game yesterday. My third game of the year, his first in a couple years, back at Guaranteed Rate Park. We went and saw the Blue Jays and the White Sox.
It was a fun game. Loaded. Obviously, the Blue Jays, we know, have a lot of up-and-coming stars, if you will. So it was a must-go-to game. When it was presented, it was let's just get on the road and go. And you know what? I wasn't disappointed. I was disappointed in the Sox, but being in the stadium, I can tell you guys who have been itching to go to a ball game. Go. If you're not super cautious about COVID, maybe you're vaccinated and you're trying to find that first event, I am going to tell you, go and have a good time. I don't care if your team is the Baltimore Orioles. Go to the ball game. I'm telling you, nothing beats the smell of the ballpark. Nothing beats the ground crew setting up the field prior to the game. And at least for the game we went to, it was loaded with action. It was actually a pretty good pitching duel until late in the game. Once Lance Lynn got pulled out, everything went to crap. Got some bad news too during that game, which we can talk about when we hit our baseball segment. But definitely a good time. I don't know about you, Healy, but I know you're a Cubs fan, but Guaranteed Rate, you can't go wrong. And it was kind of a packed house being limited because, I mean, they generally, as we always joke about, they never really sell out their stadium quite like Wrigley does, which Wrigley's going to be 100% coming up soon. The Cell Comiskey Park Guaranteed Rate Field apparently is not going to be till the end of June, about the 25th or 28th, around there. It's going to go to 100%. Probably not going to see much more packed than what we saw.
Are they on a long road trip?
It must be, because I saw a post earlier today regarding that. I was looking up some other news with key injuries. Saw a lot of guys get hurt yesterday, and I hope I did not bring a curse upon the Sox. There were a lot of injury, a lot of weird injuries. Let's put it that way.
They have one home series next week against the Rays, so it's a little weird, especially because Wrigley's just going to go straight 100% this week.
Bananas. That atmosphere, especially since they're in first place. Wrigley, it doesn't matter if they're in first or last. Their fans, I mean, it's an awesome place to go to. There's a lot to do around there, but it's gonna be rocking in the north side. So that'll be a interesting thing. And you're actually going to a game this weekend. You're gonna be going to the Cubs Cards game, and it's gonna be 100%.
Yeah, I'm going to the first home series. At 100% capacity. It's against the Cardinals. I get to meet Seth Elledge of the Cardinals this weekend, so that's gonna be awesome. The past few games I've been able to just meet players that I've talked to playing MLB The Show. They're always so nice. I message them. I'm like, hey, can I meet you? They're like, all right, sure. And I get there early enough so I'm not an inconvenience. They step out for like 15 minutes or so. We just chat. And also the Cubs, we get to see them in their city jerseys this weekend. Their City Connect, which the jersey itself, I am not a fan of. The whole uniform together, the light blue saves it.
Yeah.
Especially with all like the accessories and whatnot. The hat, though, I'm getting a hat. The hat is sick.
Yeah. I love the hat. So the jersey alone, if you go jersey for jersey, the Sox have the upper edge on the Cubs. Altogether, the uniform, it's a win either way. But if we go individually by the hats, I got to give it to
Mm-hmm.
the Cubs. The Sox is too. I'm trying to think of the term. Somebody compared it to. Oh man, it just doesn't. It looks cheesy to me. It looks super
Mm-hmm.
cheesy. Something you get at like a flea market.
Yeah, I kind of get the idea because like the Sox logo is literally SOX, and it's kind of like going in diagonal, kind of how it says shy on the hat. But I'm definitely getting a hat. I'm definitely getting a light blue shirt. I'm not gonna get one of the navy shirts. It's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna be chilling in Wrigleyville beforehand. It's a night game. Super excited. The one thing I really enjoyed at Guaranteed Rate over Wrigley this yesterday was the smell of the food. Gotta
Oh
admit,
man.
going to Guaranteed Rate, the food, they have so many different options. Like Wrigley, you get the hot dog, you get all the basics. You're there for the experience, but like if you want a good food place, Guaranteed's where it's at. They have many different areas to get it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was nonstop. So there's a point where we were chasing each other in a circle because you're like, I'm here, I'm in 100. Well, we just passed 100, so it
Which is
restarts
right
at like
field.
yeah, and so I was in center and it restarted at like 162. So I'm like, oh, he's on the other side. Little did I know if I just looked over my left shoulder, kitty corner behind me, I had just passed 100. I don't know how I missed you because you're like 6'10" compared to me, but but overall, I got a Polish, I got it loaded. Actually, they didn't load a lot on there. It was like grilled onions, which I was okay with. Um, the food by far, you have way more options. There's way more. I mean, that's the one thing though, is like you go to Wrigley, you have an old school stadium. You mentioned it before. You go to the bleachers, good luck. You have one little hut to go to get your alcohol. They added a lot around the rest of the stadium, but with going to the rate, it's anywhere you want. You want a frozen drink? Go to the frozen section, dead center. That was actually a really cool view to watch the game from with the cameramen. I was able to look, and they had like 4 or 5 cameramen in a row with these huge cameras. You could see their HD screen, so I was able to watch the game and look at their screen to see, because there's a certain part you couldn't get to because you're right behind center field. So that was pretty cool too. So definitely an experience. My next game will be in Wrigley, regardless if it's a crosstown rival or if we just got to have 5 to go see the Cubs play. I don't mind it. I am a Sox fan, but I am not a hater, is one thing I am
We
not.
will pick
So,
a good matchup.
oh,
Wrigleyville,
absolutely.
especially after the age of 21, Wrigleyville, it's just an experience. You
Oh
like I'm
man,
going, it's a 6:10 game. I want to get to Wrigleyville at like 1 or 2 o'clock on Saturday and just
eat some
enjoy
good
it,
food around there.
sitting at the
Yeah,
bars, seeing all the people there. Just an experience. Or you could go to a 1 o'clock game and then at 4 p.m. or whatever, you're done. Go to the bars. You could even go to the 6 o'clock game on Saturday and go out to the bars afterwards at like
after,
10.
because they close at like 12 or 1, so it's, or maybe even later. I don't know
It
if
might be
they
two
have
or
any.
three now.
That's
100%.
typical. Yeah, yeah. That would be. You know what? That's life starting to come back around, and that's incredible. But Wrigley, if you want to have a good time before and or after the game, for sure, go to Wrigley, go to Wrigleyville. There's a reason why it's on the jerseys. It's an experience. You never know what you're gonna get any given day, any given day. So, and then
Yeah.
with with the South Side, when you go to the rate, you drink there or whatever you're into, but there's not really much to do around there. It's still being worked on. Nothing beats the North Side. Let's put it that way when it comes to partying, if you will.
Yeah, you brought up the good point about the Wrigleyville and jerseys. I saw some people complain and they're like, it's just a north side. And I'm like, no, like these jerseys are personalities of the teams. The Sox, they're known as the South Side. Wrigley, you could say you're a North Sider, but that's just a direction. You don't really say, oh yeah, we're on the North Side. We're on the North Side. No, you say you're in Wrigleyville. Like it's this own little community.
It's always, so it's the Cubs. I hate to say it, it's the Cubs are generally America's favorite team when it comes to baseball, one of them. So it's always the Cubs, and then if you're a Sox fan, you say I'm a South Sider. Oh, you're from Chicago? Yeah, yeah, Cubs or Sox. Oh, I'm a South Sider. You never say I'm a North Sider because the assumption generally is you're a Cubs fan. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and it's you just say Cubs or Sox. Generally, Cubs fans will say Cubs, or we go to Wrigleyville and party versus the Sox. It's always, hey, Southsiders. We're Southsiders all day. I'm a Southsider.
Yeah. And then
So,
the last little note, Michael Hermosillo, he hit a grand slam yesterday. He's in AAA right now.
oh yeah,
So, and right now in AAA, last night he went 2 for 2, had all 4 RBIs for the team, and he also walked twice. I was telling you yesterday he had like a 7 something OPS, or maybe like an 802. He's only had 20 plate appearances, but because of that game last night, his OPS is up to 1200.
oh wow,
Because the grand slam, that home run right there, he's hitting like 2 something. He's up to 353, 476, 765, and I'm just hoping he continues to kill it. I want to see him at Wrigley. Maybe that will be the game we go to. Who knows? I know he does have family. Well, we'll go regardless. If he's called up, I'm
we're
buying
going. Yeah,
tickets.
regardless.
I'm buying tickets to the game,
Yeah,
regardless.
he's fun to watch. It's pretty cool. Like during the spring training too, he had that back-to-back games, I believe, with home runs. I was just like, dude, this dude is actually he could ball. He could ball. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not just saying that because he was on a podcast, but like he has so much potential. So shout out to Michael Hermosillo. Big ups to him, killing it. He's back. He's been hurt, a little hurt, but he's back. Um, but yeah, let's get to it, Healy. We have action packed. We actually got a few things to talk about. I feel like the first thing we should get out of the way. Let's start off with the NFL. Big moves being made. Mr. Julio Jones, arguably the best receiver in the game. The best receiver in the game for the last, I don't know, 12, 13 years, however long he's been in the league, goes to Tennessee. He is going to be in Nashville. He is going to be playing next to AJ Brown, who is another. This dude hasn't even hit his prime yet, or is hitting his prime. Is a stud as it is. You have Ryan Tannehill, who's a very quiet piece of success, if you will, in the NFL as a quarterback, and has been for a while. You pair them up with King Henry, Derrick Henry, who is 2,000-yard rusher, like back-to-back years, can't be tackled. He's a tank. He's got speed. Are we looking at the best offense in the NFL right now? I'm
Mm,
wondering. That's tough. And I'm a Packers fan, and I feel like Tennessee, we're going to see some magical things out of them.
I don't know. They do have a lot of options. I still think the Chiefs are probably going to be number 1.
Chiefs should be. The Chiefs
Especially because
definitely.
Mahomes is just, he makes that offense way better compared to like Tannehill. It's
Mhm.
like weapons wise, this is a good team. The Titans have everything you need. But like offensively, you still need that great quarterback. He's good, but like not on Mahomes level.
Absolutely not. And at the end of the day, the quarterback makes a bigger difference than the weapons. You can have Julio Jones, Devontae Adams, you could have anybody and everybody, but if you don't have an Aaron Rodgers or a Pat Mahomes, you have a mediocre quarterback. That translation to wins and losses is more so weighed out by the talent of the quarterback. But I still like Tennessee simply because their offense got better. Then the defense is already good-ish. Last year wasn't their best year. They've had better years in the past, but I like the move. I like the move. Julio had to get out of Atlanta. They've been talking about shopping him the last couple of seasons. Atlanta has to go into this rebuild eventually. They might be able to avoid it. We don't really know what we're gonna get from Matt Ryan. It's weird. You get like half the season, you're like, oh man, he passes for 450 yards in 7 games. And then you look at his stats at the end of the season, you're like, oh, he passes for 44 or 45, almost 50,000 yards. But you're only getting that out of like 10 games. In the other games, he's
Mm-hmm.
mediocre. There's a lot of guys like that in the league. But
The
yeah,
age
I'm
is
I'm,
starting
I'm
to catch
actually.
up with him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So with the trade, Atlanta, they give up Julio. They give up a 2023 6th-round pick, which there's always some gems late. Tennessee has given up a 2022 second-round pick and a 2003 4th-round pick. So essentially, they're swapping a 4th round for a 6th round in 2023. They gave up a 2022 second-round pick. I feel like it's almost a steal for Tennessee to just say, you know what, we won't give you the 1st round. We'll give you a 2nd round pick. When that 2nd round pick might be a late pick if they're still good. I think they got away with one. Julio, you'll still get another couple of good years out of Julio. He doesn't look like he's slowing down. Maybe a little bit, but he's also, he's injury prone sometimes. So I think he compliments A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown compliments Julio Jones for what the package was. I'm going to call it a steal.
Yeah, and Julio Jones, he didn't try getting number 11. A.J. Brown offered number 11 to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, take it. Like, it's yours, which is cool. It's a great startup to team chemistry. Like, you would think maybe numbers aren't too big of a deal, like, but to players, they are. And especially if you've been rocking a certain number your whole career, you'd want to give it to the guy who's more known for it. Especially A.J. Brown's only been in the league a couple years. He could afford a change, whatnot. But no, Julio is with a new team. 11 has no relevance to him in Tennessee. And he decided to wear number 2. The number 2 looks garbage in Titans font, but it's cool. It's cool seeing him it's in a single digit number.
Yeah, especially now that the NFL is laxed with the numbers. Which obviously Tom Brady didn't like. That was one thing we kind of briefly talked about, not really. But yeah, so he's going with number 2. A.J. Brown stays 11. Not only is A.J. Brown happy about it, he plans to be 11 for life. He's talking about how he wants to be a Titan for life. I like A.J. Brown. I'm a huge, huge fan of A.J. Brown.
Yeah, there's this offense. We'll have to see how it performs in the regular season and also playoffs. This trade, I think they have a couple years left in this window, and they're trying to win now, especially with this Julio Jones trade. Let's see if they can push them over the edge. They got super close 2 years ago.
They did,
and they made it last year. So
they're it's almost a guaranteed playoff run. It's a matter of what they do in the playoffs against the Chiefs, or maybe Baltimore might be good again this year. Pittsburgh is going to be the AFC is stacked with great teams. So it's going to be tough, but I think Tennessee, if they don't win it this year, maybe they have another run next year, but I don't know how many more years of Derrick Henry they're going to get. You don't get a lot of years out of running backs, and Derrick Henry having multiple 2,000-yard seasons. Every season he has like a 90-yard run. It makes you wonder, man, what's his longevity? Because there are those random running backs who randomly run until they're like 33, 34 years old. And, Derrick Henry's not old by any means, but he takes, he's probably leading the league in carries the last 3 years. So we'll see what we get out of that.
In other football news, we do have a little bit of AJ, Aaron Rodgers. All we know at the moment is he is not attending the training camp. Training camp started. It's June, yes. So he's not attending the mandatory stuff. The Packers could fine him if needed. But to Aaron Rodgers, with how much he's gotten paid, if they decide to fine him, then it's chump change to him. But as of now, he's not attending. It is June, which Julio got traded when June started, as we talked about in a previous podcast, because they would save money. The new year has officially started in the NFL, so Aaron Rodgers can get traded for way cheaper than before, and the cap hit will be way less. Is this a sign that Rodgers gets traded? We'll just have to see. He's still making the push that he's not coming back, but what do you think?
Just give him what he wants. I mean, he's arguably, and if we're not counting championships, if we look at who do you trust to lead your team from on a last minute drive? Who you're going to pick 9 times out of 10? Probably Rodgers or Brady, but that's it. Rodgers you got to listen to him. You got to listen. He needs some control in that organization. Green Bay notoriously, they don't go out and grab players. They like to draft. They've grabbed some players here and there. I just think that the biggest thing right now is and there's been communication on both sides, which is good. But the big thing is the players are backing up Rodgers. Devontae Adams said, "I will go to bat for Rodgers." So I think with the players having his back, and you just gotta, somebody's got to give it in. It's not going to be Rodgers. Rodgers not going to give in because, like you said, it's chump change. What are they going to find him? 60,000 for not showing up?
I think it's 91.
Or 90, even 91. You could take $1 million from a guy who makes what he makes, especially with his endorsements and everything else. I would focus on, hey, we have not gotten you your rings. We have made some decisions that may have left a bad taste in your mouth, but we're here to let you know we want to win and we want to make you happy because of not only your legacy, but because of what you can do at any given moment on the field. And we want to work with you. So what do you need? And let's not meet in the middle. Let's meet on your end. We want to work with you. You know, obviously you can't give him everything he wants. It's just the way it works in business. But if he's like, you know what, I think we need to get somebody here. You know, Lindsley's gone, their center, who is incredible. He's with the Chargers now. They ended up drafting a center. I don't know what he's going to want. I don't know what he's going to ask for, but I can guarantee you whatever it is will translate to more wins. And at this point, they're always one win away from getting the Super Bowl. So he'll show up.
Yes. That is pretty much all the football news we have. Well, I guess one thing I'll briefly say. Justin Fields is big. A lot of guys like him at camp right now. Darnell Mooney said he smiled going across the middle, catching a pass. I've heard good things. That's great. We will have a topic in a future podcast. Basically, talked about it briefly last night. We'll talk about it in the future on how quickly Fields will get pushed into the starting quarterback position, knowing what Ryan Pace has already said about him for the full year. With that, though, MLB news. We'll target this and we'll go to the NBA playoffs. MLB substance abuse. Is it abuse? I don't know. But this year, especially because the baseballs got changed, big talk is pitchers using substance. They're using spider tack. They're using all these different formulas to get faster spin rate on the ball, move their pitches more. Like, if you don't know, a guy could throw the exact same, but if his spin rate is way higher, you're going to get more swings and misses. You're going to be better in general. You would think, why? It's moving the same rate, same miles per hour. Spin rate, the faster it spins, the faster it looks like it's coming into you. So, and the more it will actually move because of the friction throughout the air. Yep. So, guys want to get that advantage. It's been going on for many years. You can't even pinpoint a direct start. So, Gerrit Cole got interviewed. He was like, do you use it? And he started off going, I don't know how to answer this. And it's like, you could just say, I know he didn't want to say no, because then people would then go after him and find videos. But he didn't want to say yes, because technically is against the rules. So he basically said they've been doing this for years. And personally, I am on the camp. I think Aaron Judge and Pete Alonso are as well. I don't necessarily care. This is technically cheating at the end of the day. Technically cheating. But teams aren't enforcing it. And now it's becoming too much of a problem because there's no hitters and just averages are down due to the baseball changes. MLB is changing the baseballs like every single year, it seems like. And they're going to crack down and come at the pitchers, which they allowed. This seems like a similar situation that happened in the early 2000s. A situation people say saved baseball, where MLB kind of turned a blind eye for a little bit, and then got to a point where they're like, bad players, no, and then they're in trouble.
Use these steroids.
And then all of a sudden, anyone that's played in that era is crucified.
It's not fair. You can't allow it for so long, or not necessarily allow it, but not have rules against it. And then all of a sudden, well, you're not going to be in the Hall of Fame, Barry Bonds. You're not going to be in the Hall of Fame, whoever else has used Roger Clemens, I think. There's been a bunch of guys, A-Rod. Guys that very well deserve to be there. Now, with pitchers, the difference is, and we were talking about it yesterday, I think the biggest thing is, okay, they can get tested for it. It's in their system. Well, the sticky stuff has to get caught at that time by the umpire or the other team to say, hey, I'm challenging, check his hat, or whatever they would do. Like Sosa with the corked bat. It was bad enough he was part of the steroid era, but then all of a sudden his bat breaks and they're like, whoa, there's a cork in here. For those who don't know, when you cork the barrel of the bat, you're swinging basically a piece of paper. It's super light. But
it's just a tad bit lighter.
But with baseball, that tad bit it can make a difference. It can definitely make a difference. So with the sticky stuff, it's going to be harder to say, here's the list of people that tested positive versus this guy got caught in this one game. Maybe Gerrit Cole or whoever. The worst part is Gerrit Cole ends up notorious for this, and the league teaches the up-and-comers to hate this era. It's going to look worse for that World Series Astros team that he pitched on, because not only did they...
Well, he didn't pitch on that team.
Oh, he wasn't. You're right.
He made it, but they didn't win. They did not win. It was the Nationals that won it that year.
You're right. The Nationals definitely did win that one. But, I mean, to get to that point, though, it makes you wonder, his RPM or whatever increased from 2017 to that point. And it just is... I don't think the MLB should teach to hate an era like they did with the steroids when it comes to something that, like you mentioned, and it's been in movies, it's documented in like for I don't know how long, probably since the 30s or the 40s or even before. Baseball has been around forever, that this stuff has been used and is going to continue to get used. Now, where are they hiding it? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. We've seen a pitcher forced to change his hat before a game, didn't want to. He got pulled from the game. He got ejected. I think wasn't that the Sox Cardinals? I could have sworn there was a pitcher.
Giovanni Gallegos of the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And they got it before he even warmed up. As soon as he got to the mound, they removed his hat, and then Matheny got ejected or whatever.
Yeah. So, but like, can you label him as a cheater, or... oh, I had this substance on my hat, now I can't use it for the next game? Versus steroids, it's like you're building, or, any other type of PEDs. It's like it's in your system, you've built off of that. You work out, you're getting bigger, you're recovering faster, whatever you're using, versus, oh, I use this substance, oh, I can't use it anymore. Okay. So I don't know how they're gonna treat it, but if it goes based off the history of the MLB and what they're good at, is throwing a generation of players onto an island for them to just say, it's all right, you're not in the Hall of Fame, but thanks for generating us millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, thanks for providing us some great seasons.
Yeah.
And you'll still be in the record books, everything will be fine. You're all good to go. I hope it does not get to that point. I've already seen some people on Twitter make some weird comments about it, being like, these guys are cheaters, get them out of the game. Just like overreactions when literally everyone's done it from the beginning of baseball. And in any sport, if you aren't a competitor, like you aren't in the sport to begin with, but like if you are, you're always trying to get the edge to perform the best. All about getting that edge over other people. That's why they have scouting reports. That's Astros. They did use the video cameras, which big no-no, but they were trying. That's why guys on base will try to decode pitching signs, which is legal in the game. But at the same time, they're just trying to get an edge. Trying to get the spin rate up on fastballs, whatever pitches, sliders, whatever. But a lot of these guys are good regardless. Jacob deGrom got accused because he kept touching his belt the other day. Some of these guys are just built different. They're going to play well regardless. We've seen D. Gordon take steroids. He still only has 18 home runs, maybe 18 home runs in his career. Like, it doesn't make you better than the next. Nelson Cruz got caught with roids early in his career. But look at him. He's 40. Who knows if he is still taking them, but he's 40, still hitting like 40 nukes a year.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't matter if he took them or not. So it's something that, yeah, it's kind of like a no-no, but if the MLB comes down on it, boo-hoo, it's over with. The MLB will go back to somewhat being normal. The bigger question is, when will MLB stop changing the baseballs? Like, this wouldn't become an issue if the MLB just changed the baseballs every year. They changed them, and then all of a sudden home runs went way up. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's home runs, strikeouts, or bust. And they're like, let's just remove the home runs. And then now it's strikeouts or barely home runs. It's still the same three, but like, you're getting out way more now because of it. And then the shifts and whatnot. Baseball, I don't know. We'll see where it gets to. It's a good question, though. Good thought about the substances. If you have any conversation to this, add us on Twitter, message us on Instagram, or like comment on our Instagrams and whatnot, and we'll talk about it in future episodes. But as of now, I don't necessarily care. If they want to get rid of it, pitchers will probably be like, okay, we'll just go back to before and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
A lot of the players don't necessarily care that are hitting. They got to do their job regardless.
At the end of the day, yeah, you got to stand in there and you got to endure it. You got to endure that. So, I mean, and who knows? Who knows how many pitchers are actually using it? Maybe it is a lot. Maybe it's not. But the thing is, I feel as though it's something that the league, it's almost like a Roger Goodell. Like, they look to just crack down on something that's been a norm. And, okay, maybe they shouldn't use it. Then go out there and you got to develop a process to make sure these guys aren't using it. Don't just talk about it and then draw the negative, because the media is going to draw the negative narrative, and then everybody who doesn't know anything about it, like I played baseball for like 14 years of my life, right? Like I played in like adult leagues. I never made it anywhere, but I understood the game and I get it. I understand the history. And then you have like these sports fans who are just like, oh, they cheated. And it's like, that's like drawing a fine line right there. Like, are they cheating? Are they actually? Maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? So we can't just get drawn into the negative narrative and accuse these, because then people are going to start hating baseball for that. And it's like, that's not the game. That's not the game. So, of course, only time will tell. I would say within the next, it's a big topic right now. It could be maybe by the end of this season, maybe by the end of 2023. Who knows? Yeah,
collective bargaining agreement is at the end of the year.
Oh.
We will see. Yeah, we'll see if they address it there. Bigger suspensions. And hopefully this is the last year of no DH in the National League too. But on that note, it's basketball time. We'll start off with LeBron and the Lakers getting eliminated. They lost to the Suns in 6 games, and Anthony Davis was out for one of the games. It was the game 5. It was tied 2-2. Anthony Davis sat out. He played game 6, And we talked about it last week. We were like, you can't sit out a game 5. You just can't. And then he tried playing game 6. He played for like 5 minutes. It was obvious that he was hurt and he couldn't do it. And the Lakers just were not a good team. I predicted them to make the finals. I'm pretty sure you did too. We both had Nets Lakers in the finals. I thought they had a good team, but you could see as soon as Anthony Davis left the floor, that team was just not great. Their supporting cast was not as good compared to last year, where they had Rondo, they had a better Gasol.
The competitive level,
Danny
Green,
like
the morale, Danny Green too, yeah. The morale was just out the window. LeBron, I've always been a LeBron fan. I'm a fanboy. The past couple of years, just things he says, things he does on the court, his lack of effort. It was like 4 minutes left in the game. They were down, I think it was like 10, maybe 12 points. It was, I mean, it was a close game in the sense that the Lakers have LeBron. Anything could happen. Seeing him not go up for a rebound, not getting back on defense multiple times in the game. He just didn't want it. He didn't want it. And it makes you wonder how this team is going to do anything moving forward when, for one, their supporting cast isn't good. Kyle Kuzma's not who they thought he was. Don't get me wrong. I thought I was sold on Kuzma. I thought Kuzma this year or last year was going to be it. I was like, he's going to come off the bench. He's going to put up 15, 16 solid points a game, play efficient, might put some size on. Not the case at all. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing out there. Dennis Schroeder had a horrible series minus the first couple of games. First couple of games, he looked great. Then again, Chris Paul was hurt the first few games. I just feel like Phoenix is the more complete team. They have a way better point guard. You take Anthony Davis out of the equation, the morale clearly dropped for the Lakers. And who knows what's really going on with LeBron's ankle.
Yeah, will we finally see a LeBron who is mortal? He's played so many years in which he wasn't hurt. He made the finals consecutive years, all like 8 straight years minimum in the 2010s. And then now he got his first big injury, and he's already past the age marker of where it's going to be easy to recover. I hope we don't see a huge decline. We shouldn't, but we could start seeing a LeBron where he's just not on the court as much.
LeBron is good. His IQ will never drop below the highest IQ. He's slowed down a little bit. He knows it. He likes that post up, which karma sucks when you're trying to clown Jay Crowder and then all of a sudden you don't know how to play basketball anymore. I think personally, he's still going to be an all-star. He's going to be, I would say, an elite player. But that Lakers team will not win unless they get another piece. And that's not a jab at LeBron, but LeBron isn't the LeBron we remember from the Cavs to the Heat to the Cavs again when he had that run and destroyed Toronto how many years in a row, to even the Lakers, his run last year with the Lakers. He was good enough. Anthony Davis was playing. Anthony Davis healthy, sure. I think they would have won the series. But that's not the case, and we'll see. He is switching from 23 to 6 once again. Last time he did that, he dominated the league like I've never seen domination before.
Yeah, he became the villain in Miami.
The Black Mask, can he bring it back? Can someone just, he flops anyways when you just walk past him. Maybe he'll have to wear a mask. Who knows?
But it's a weird decision in my eyes. It's like you're only there for a couple more years. Like, you've been 23. You should have just been number 6 from the beginning. It's just weird in general that he would want to switch to number 6 at all.
Here's my idea on it. And I really hope I really hope this isn't it, and that so LeBron's arrogance, where Kobe got 8 and 24, right, in the
Mm-hmm.
Raptors. So say LeBron, he won a championship with 23. It's almost like he might get his number up there. Like maybe he should. Now, what if he plays 2, maybe 3 more years, he wins one more at 6? I feel like maybe that's what he's going for, the Kobe. Well, Kobe has 2 numbers up there. I really hope that's not it. I really hope that's not, because that is the most arrogant thing that I would possibly argue it
I
against LeBron.
I don't think so, but
You never know. You never know. So, but he's going back to number 6. These numbers are very common. You have Anthony Davis is 3. You have a lot of guys that are 0, 1. I don't know why he's going back now, but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Of course, nobody wants. I personally want to see LeBron have one more great year in him. So,
mm-hmm. And like at the moment, I don't think his number would be retired as a Laker. Depending if he wins one more championship, maybe. But let's say he doesn't win one with 6. Like it's even tougher. Or maybe he does have like a couple of good years. It's like, all right, what number do you retire? I don't know. It's weird. I don't think, unless he wins another championship, I don't think they should retire it.
yeah, I don't know. Some teams retire numbers, and you're just like I feel like 23 should be retired around the league. But like I'm pretty sure Tony Kukoc is retired as a Chicago Bull, his number. And do you really think he contributed that much to their championship run? Is his number not retired? I think. Oh no, it's not, because Ben
No.
Gordon was number 7. I lied. Ben Gordon was number 7 for a while. So never mind on that. I was trying to trash talk the Bulls organization for that, but I just realized Ben Gordon, Mr. Sixth Man, was definitely number 7. But
No,
we'll
only
see.
Bob Love, Jordan, Pippen,
Pippen.
also Jerry Sloan.
Oh,
And that
Dennis
was
Rodman
it.
didn't. Okay. All right, maybe.
No.
Well, either way, LeBron definitely, like you said, if he wins one more, then I feel like for sure you got to throw him up there. But there's no way in hell you put both numbers up there. But I think this is more of a mental thing. This is to say, I'm making my change back to 6 because mentally, like physically, I'm a little hurt now, but I know I have time. Mentally, I'm here to kill, and I want to see what LeBron brings next season.
Yeah, maybe it's just next season we see him come out and drop 30 points and 8 and 8, and he just dominates games. Maybe he was like, all right, I came to the Lakers. They were trash when I was here. I had a good season. I won the Mickey Mouse ring. Just kidding. And then this past season was just okay. They didn't finish too hot. He's like, all right, I need to just put that era of Lakers basketball behind me. And now it's dominating Lakers basketball. I want guys here that can win. And they might make a bunch of moves this offseason to change the team around him and AD.
Yeah, yeah. I think I honestly I'm as long as they can nurse him back to health, which I think they can. Anthony Davis injury isn't serious long term. So as long as those two guys are ready to come back, they're gonna have more time off this year than they had last year. A lot more time off. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think basketball is on for another month. About. So the fact that they're out early, they can start their rehab. They can go into summer. Obviously LeBron's got the movie coming out. He's been working on it for I don't know how long. But, they're going to have some time to work together, and maybe they pull another piece. Maybe Dame doesn't stick with Portland. Who knows?
That would be crazy. The rumors
So,
are already starting there.
yeah.
We do have Jokic. He won the MVP. We
Shout out
also
to Jokic.
had Rudy Gobert win Defensive Player of the Year, and Tom Thibodeau won Coach of the Year. So they
Shout
did
out
go
to
with the
those
narrative
guys.
there with Thibodeau compared to Monty Williams and the Suns being as great as they were.
Yeah.
Jokic, he definitely got it. There was a Derrick Rose first place vote in there, and the
Joke.
NBA clarified it was like a fan vote type thing. I don't know because I didn't hear anything about a fan vote because I would have voted for someone. Was it only in Madison Square Garden for like one game? I don't know. But Derrick Rose, he got an MVP vote. Maybe they can use that to help his Hall of Fame case when he's done with basketball. We'll
Such a
have to see with
joke.
that. But Jokic, well deserved. Embiid got a bunch of top 5 votes. He finished up there. If he would have played the full season, I think Embiid would have taken it. But Jokic played
Yeah.
more, and he had a historic season.
He led
The
that team and they were hurt.
Yeah, and yesterday, I think the Suns are up. Suns dominated the first 2 games. Yeah, the Suns won yesterday. They were losing first half, and then they dominated the second half against the Nuggets. Nuggets are not looking too good, but it was home court advantage. So technically Phoenix was supposed to win those 2 games. We'll have to see tomorrow if Denver can then take their home court game.
Yeah. Also, besides that series, which at this point Phoenix is looking real nice. Chris Paul is looking great. Shoulder doesn't appear to be bothering him. I do like Phoenix in that series. Denver, if they had Jamal Murray, were a little bit healthier. I would say they can make it a closer series. The other Western Conference, you have Clippers against Utah. You have Playoff P. And if you know why they call him Playoff P, it's not for a good reason. He had a horrible game 1. Utah's up 1-0 there. Donovan Mitchell has, to me, has been one of the most efficient scoring players in the playoffs the last couple of seasons. And I'm talking like up there with the greats, with the Dames, with the LeBrons, this dude is immaculate. And I don't look at Utah as being an elite team, but when he has these 40-point games and their defense is a good defense, it's hard to deny that they deserve to be there. And I honestly I cannot, for some reason about Utah and sometimes Denver, I can't get it through my cranium as to why they continue to be a top seeded team, because their offense isn't that great. But when Donovan Mitchell himself is putting up 40 points in a game, and you have Michael Conley fill in the role of a point guard, he's not bad for his, he's getting up there in age. I, you know, I, the Clippers to me should be able to take this series. Paul George just has to be decent. He just has to play decent, just like they did against the Mavs in the last couple of games. Shout out to Luka. That kid is incredible. If they get one more piece or something, I don't even think they need another piece. Run it back. I think they take the series again. But we have that series, obviously. And then for the Eastern Conference, Brooklyn up 2-0. An easy 2-0 so far. Game 3's tonight. Milwaukee's actually up. But the way Brooklyn has been dominating Milwaukee is scary without James Harden.
Yeah, no James Harden. They dominated game 1 and game 2. Milwaukee's up like 5 or so points at this moment. I don't know if you've been keeping track though. It was like 30-11 after quarter 1. Brooklyn was down. And they brought it back within 3 points. So watch out. Maybe Brooklyn was being nice today. Milwaukee has the home court. They're like, okay, we've beat you by 30 plus points. Let's actually just make it a competitive game. We'll spot you 20 at the beginning, and then it can come down to the wire. No, but Milwaukee, Giannis actually came out tonight. He had 2 sick dunks to start off. He's been playing well. Chris Middleton, both of them have at least 15 points, and I think they might have had it in like the first quarter or even like just early second quarter. They were both at 15. Mm-hmm. And also while watching the game, while we've been recording this, Giannis did get called for taking too long shooting a free throw.
Oh, he did. Yeah, they got that timer set for him. I think it's a timer in general, but yeah, I mean, he's not the best free throw shooter in the game. I don't know what takes him so long, but he's just gotta. So he misses out on that free throw attempt? Yep. Is that how that works?
Yep, it's over, and then it doesn't count as a miss or whatever. I don't know what it counts as in the scorebook, but the Nets just got the ball and they're able to pass it in.
Wow. Interesting. What about if it's the first of two? Is it still it's done?
Well, he gets to shoot the second then, but the
Okay, you
first
go. So
one,
it's just for that shot. I
yeah.
think the biggest X factor is, and we both agree, yeah, Drew Holiday's good. He's playing that point guard role well, but Chris Middleton, if he continues to struggle shooting from the field, 7 for 20 in the last game, only 17 points. Game 1, which they lost by 8, is because they pulled in the fourth quarter. They were actually getting dominated. Chris Middleton shot 6 of 23, only had 13 points. Yeah, you're like, he had 13 rebounds, 4 assists, but no, you need Chris Middleton to score on this Nets defense. The Nets defense isn't that great. If Chris Middleton does not score, Giannis is going to get his points. But if they are stopping Chris Middleton and others from the 3-point line, there's no way they don't sweep the series. There's no way they don't win by 10 points in this game, even though they started off down
Hmm.
so much. Kevin Durant's shooting bad tonight, but he can turn it around at any given moment.
And this is without James Harden still. And like the bench, the depth of the Nets right now is sick. They're playing very well, and it's a key piece to why the Nets are winning these games the way they are.
Oh yeah. I'm a huge fan of Bruce Brown. He steps up in every game where James Harden has sat or is sitting, and he is one of the most efficient shooting guards probably in the league. The dude's only 24 years old. He doesn't average a lot of points simply because he is technically a bench player. But in the games that he played with Brooklyn, which was what he played probably most of the season, he had to have shot over 50% from the last time I remember. And Bruce Brown, for those who don't know, he wasn't always, I don't think he was with the Nets his whole career. Believe he came over, let's see. Yeah, he was with Detroit. This year he played almost 23 minutes a game. He shot 55% from the field. 55% is good. Especially when you get a guy where Harden's been the whole team's been kind of hurt. Even when Durant sits and Harden's playing, Bruce Brown was stepping in to play 20, 25 minutes. When all three are playing, he doesn't really play a whole lot, but you still get that efficient shooting. And I just love the support that the Nets have. The supporting cast is nuts. It's nuts.
And as we're talking about this, they just went into halftime, 3-point game. Next
Wow.
week on the podcast, we could potentially be talking about the Nets being in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was in the first quarter, 30-11 Milwaukee. Second quarter, 31-15 Brooklyn. So it's a tale of two quarters so far. It's not looking good on Milwaukee's end. We'll have to see if Giannis can keep it up. I had someone in my Twitch chat being like, talking about all this hype about the Bucks, which no discredit to the Bucks. They are a fantastic team. But comparing them to the Nets, he was like, who's going to guard Giannis? Drew Holiday's going to be on Kyrie Irving. This was before Harden was out. And I thought there was going to be a little bit of trouble. But you could let Giannis doesn't have an outside game. He only has inside game. He can draw some fouls, but he's even then not a great free throw shooter. You can't be scoring 2 points on a possession here and there or getting one of two free throws when the Nets are constantly out shooting you and getting way more threes.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you can give up 35 to 40 points to Giannis, whether if it's in the paint or he ends up hitting a three. He does, occasionally can shoot the three. Who else is going to score? PJ Tucker doesn't score nowadays. Brooke Lopez randomly will have a 20-point game every sixth or seventh game. Chris Middleton, sure, give him 20, 25 points at his position. Who else is going to score? Bobby Portis isn't consistent. Brian Forbes isn't consistent. Who is there? DiVincenzo's out for the playoffs. He's good on both sides of the ball, but he's out. So the Bucks are good, and you can't, like you said, you can't discredit the Bucks. The issue is the Nets' firepower is out of this world. It's out of this world at the end of the day, and that's what it comes down to. You can give up the two, but when the Nets are shooting, even if they shoot 35 to 40% from downtown, they're going to outscore the Bucks every time. So, and Durant is shooting bad today, and it's still a close game. That's a lot to think about.
Oh,
Durant doesn't have bad games often.
He is Mr. Efficient. That's good that you pointed that out, because I'm going to continue watching this game when we're done talking.
Yes.
And see what they can do. The final series in the Eastern Conference, which it's 1-1.
Atlanta. I've been high
Atlanta
on
and
Atlanta.
Philadelphia.
I would love to see Atlanta make it, only because of how much I've spoken highly of them. I just feel like they're not going to take the series, and I think the biggest reason is Joel Embiid can't get stopped. I think the biggest X factor is, for one, Trae Young does not shoot very efficiently from downtown, or at least hasn't in the playoffs. It's like a 33% three-point shooter. There's some games where he literally shoots like 3 for 13, which isn't good. Another thing is John Collins has not been the player that I know he can be, that we all know he can be. He's had some big games in his career, in his young career. There was a game where I had a parlay. It was against the Knicks. He had a game where he had 5 fouls. Everybody's talking about he had like no points, or he had 2 points the whole game. I'm like, guys, so his over-under on scoring was 14 points. He had it in like the first half. The next game, simply because he didn't foul out, and he's just a dominant. He's good when he's good. He can shoot the three. He loves to camp out in the corner. But he is not taken off yet as that player, kind of like how Trae Young is, to be that, to make it a big two. Now, the supporting cast around them is good. If Bogdanovich has big games, Gallinari has good games off the bench, Clint Capella continues to just do Clint Capella things, grab 20 rebounds, whatever he's going to do, then okay, you look at Joel Embiid, you're like, Joel Embiid could put up 40 points. But I feel like unless John Collins truly can step into that role and be the all-star that he is, that Joel Embiid and supporting cast, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, they're going to overwhelm them. And I think they could end up taking the series in 5, maybe 6 games, unfortunately. As much as I love Atlanta, I think Atlanta's great. But I feel like Atlanta's time is in the next year or two, versus Philadelphia is more of a complete team. Not saying that they can compete in the next round, but I mean, depending on what ends up happening. But I feel like, yeah, Philadelphia with the coaching, Joel Embiid healthy, it's too much for Atlanta right now.
In game 1, Trae Young had like 31 total points. 25 of them came in the first half. And that was when like Danny Green was on him. Second half, and even last game, they started using Ben Simmons, defensive player of the year candidate, and he got shut down.
It's smart. Ben Simmons is big. He's a bigger player, but he's not slow. Because you gotta think Ben Simmons is so young. Ben Simmons, I remember he came to the league, sat the first full year, didn't he sit like almost the second year? But like, he runs the point. He's built in a way
6'11",
but he's not like, maybe by the time he's 30, he's gonna have to work on a post up. You know what I mean? He's gonna get bigger. It's just natural with humans get older. Naturally, they get a little bit thicker. But I think right now his role is going to make a huge impact. And I think they can take some games in the next series, depending on who they play. I think no matter who they play. But I like Ben Simmons on Trae Young. It just makes sense. Why? Because Trae Young loves to drive. Put a body in front of him. Ben Simmons is quick. Ben Simmons is not slow, and he's got a huge reach.
Yeah, he will keep you in front of him. And also Trae Young, like, if you leave him open, he'll shoot it. But Ben Simmons would be able to jump and contest. He could stay back a little bit to not allow Trae Young to drive. And once Trae beats you, he feels you behind him, and he just jumps straight up into you and gets the foul because you're trying to catch up.
Foul every single time because you're trying to catch. He's a very shifty ball handler. and he just knows how to get to the line. Like there's those guys who are just very good. So right now, Trae Young, they won game one by 4, lost the second game by quite a few. He's averaging 28 points a game. And in this last game, just looking at the stat line, he shot 6 of 16, 1 of 7 from 3. If you look at Trae Young statistically, game breakdown, if you look at even parlays, his over under generally is only 2.5 for threes. As good of a 3-point shooter as he is, he does not make a lot of threes. He makes like 2 out of 8 is his average. He's shooting 32% in the playoffs alone. And you're talking about a guy, yeah, if he does end up shooting 40%, 45% in a game, yeah, they should probably win the game as long as everybody else just does their part. But you stop him from going to the line as much as he has been and continue to let him try to shoot out of a funk. There's no way that they're gonna take a series with that. They're not developed yet. He hasn't developed a game well enough to, okay, I have Ben Simmons on me. They're gonna let me shoot all day because I might hit 3 out of 10 or 3 out of 11. Now you have somebody on me who is defensive player of the year candidate. He's fast. He's got length. He's gets his hand on the ball. I mean, he averages like a block a game, which is pretty good for being a point guard. So like I said, I like Philadelphia in this series, and it's not to discredit anything from Atlanta either. Same thing with them. They're a good team. I just don't think they're 2 years out from being a contender, I would say, as long as the moves are right.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia, it's been close these past couple of games. They're going back to the A. Trae Young's like, come show out. Maybe he has another ball out game and they lose in 6 in this series. I could also see where Philadelphia they've played him a couple times already, and now they just blow him out the next couple and end up winning the series.
It's possible.
It'll be one or the other. Like, I feel like Trae Young is going to be the deciding factor on if that's possible or not.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to Trae Young. If Trae Young turns it up and takes the series, and he can be that Steph Curry in the playoffs, I don't see them losing, to be honest, until the finals. I mean, even then, like that team, if Trae Young is on, like Steph Curry on, I can see them competing with almost any team because I feel like they have talent around him, but he's the X factor. And any game, he's the X factor. He can't shoot 25, 30%. He's got to shoot higher from downtown.
With that, though, that is going to do it for the podcast this week. Make sure you download the episode. Make sure you follow us on social media at SROnlyPod. My Twitter and Instagram is at the Healy6.
I am iGoose with 4 O's. Hit that ad. Make sure you download the episodes. That helps us out with analytics. Watch us on YouTube. Show your friends. Let's discuss. Let's talk sports. Stay interactive. And of course, we will see you guys next week.
Have a good one.